My girlfriend said, "He's just my boss." I replied, "His poor wife knows everything." Then I packed her bags, changed the locks, and sent his wife every single screenshot of their plans. And I just smiled, because she thinks she's running to her new man, but he's too busy begging for his wife's forgiveness to ever speak to her again. Original post: I'm 26 years old, and my girlfriend Maya is 25. We've been together for 3 years, living together for the last one. Our relationship has always been passionate. She's beautiful, funny, and incredible in bed. That physical connection is something that has always felt central to our bond, and honestly, it's something I've become addicted to. Hey viewers, we are aiming for 1,000 subscribers. Your support brings us closer. Subscribe and be part of the journey. A few months ago, Maya started a new job as a marketing assistant. She was excited. It was a step up for her. Her new boss, Mark, is in his 40s. He's the kind of guy you see in magazines, older, charismatic, wealthy, and successful. He's also married. Maya started talking about him a lot. Mark said this: "Mark is so brilliant." I tried to be supportive, but a small, insecure part of me felt a twinge of jealousy. I couldn't compete with a guy like that, so I told myself I didn't have to. I trusted her. Over the last month, things started to feel different. Maya became more guarded with her phone, always placing its screen down. She started working late more often, blaming big projects and tight deadlines. The easy affection between us started to fade. She seemed distant, lost in her own thoughts. The only place things felt normal, or even more intense than before, was in the bedroom. It felt like she was trying to prove something, but I didn't know what. 2 nights ago, we were watching a movie on the couch. She was texting, smiling at her phone. She eventually drifted off to sleep, her phone still in her hand, the screen unlocked. I saw a notification pop up from Mark, work. It just said, "Thinking of you." I know I shouldn't have, but I couldn't stop myself. I picked up her phone. My hands were shaking. I scrolled up through their conversation. It started innocently enough: work talk, then jokes, then flirty compliments. Then I found the messages from the night before. Mark was telling her he was in town for a 2-day conference, staying at a luxury hotel downtown. He explicitly asked her to come to his room, saying his wife thought he was in meetings. I held my breath, waiting for her rejection, for her to tell him he was out of line. But it never came. Her reply was, "Tempting, maybe I can get away." My stomach dropped. I looked at the timestamp. The message was sent just before I had come home from the gym. I realized with a sickening certainty that the only reason she was in our bed last night, and not his, was because I had been here. She hadn't said no. She had just run out of time. I felt a surge of pure, cold rage, followed by a wave of humiliation. My fear wasn't just that she would cheat. It was that if I broke up with her, I would be handing her directly to him. I felt like I was trapped in a game I had already lost. I put the phone back in her hand, exactly as I had found it. I didn't wake her. I went into the spare bedroom and sat in the dark. I needed a plan. I couldn't outplay him in his world of money and status. So I decided I would play a different game entirely. I spent the next hour doing some research online. It was surprisingly easy to find Mark's wife. Her social media profile was public, filled with happy photos of them and their 2 children. I took a screenshot of her smiling face and saved it. An idea, cold and precise, began to form in my mind. Update 1: for the next 2 days, I lived a lie. I was the perfect boyfriend. I made her coffee in the morning. I asked about her day. I acted as if nothing was wrong. Every smile, every touch felt like a betrayal of myself, but I knew I had to play my part. I was buying time while she thought she was in control. Inside, I was just waiting for the right moment to pull the pin on the grenade. I chose Thursday night. According to their text messages, it was the second and final night of Mark's conference. Maya was on the couch, glued to her phone, a small, secretive smile on her face. The scene was almost identical to the one where I had discovered everything. The symmetry felt appropriate. I sat down beside her, keeping my voice light. "You seem happy tonight. Talking to someone special." She flinched, quickly locking her phone and placing it face down. "It's just my friend, Sarah," she lied. "Just girl talk." "Oh, really?" I said, my voice still calm. Not Mark. Her eyes widened in panic. Mark, why would you say that? We only talk about work. That's strange, I said, leaning back and crossing my arms. Because I saw the messages, Maya. The ones from Tuesday night. The ones about his hotel room. The color drained from her face. She started to stammer, a string of denials and accusations. I was snooping. I was paranoid. I was taking everything the wrong way. She insisted that nothing had happened. I know nothing happened just yet, I said, my voice turning cold. You didn't reject him, Maya. You said it was tempting. You said maybe you could get away. The only reason you didn't go is because you were here, with me. You were weighing your options. I took out my phone and pulled up the screenshot I had taken. It was the photo of Mark's wife, smiling happily with her family. I held the phone out for her to see. Does she know you're one of his options? I asked quietly. She seems nice. They look happy. I wonder how she would feel about his hotel plans. The mention of his wife was the final blow. Her fabricated anger crumbled, replaced by a raw, primal fear. This wasn't just about our relationship anymore. I had brought the outside world into her secret fantasy. The reality of his marriage, his family, was a variable she hadn't considered. She burst into tears, begging and pleading. She said it wasn't what it looked like. She said he was a predator, that she was scared of him, that she didn't know how to say no without losing her job. The excuses were pathetic. I stood up. I had heard enough. It looks exactly like what it is, I said. You were entertaining the idea of cheating on me with your married boss. That's all I need to know. I walked to the door and grabbed my keys. I want you to pack your things. You need to be gone by the time I get back tomorrow afternoon. I walked out of the apartment, leaving her sobbing on the couch. My phone immediately started blowing up with her calls and texts. I ignored them all. I drove for hours, the windows down, the cold night air feeling like a baptism. The game was finally on my terms. Update 2. I spent the night at a friend's place. I didn't tell him why. I just said I needed to clear my head. I got back to the apartment the next afternoon around 3 p.m. Maya's car was gone. When I walked inside, I found her things were mostly gone, but she had left a few boxes in the living room and a tear-stained note on the kitchen counter. I didn't read it. I threw it in the trash. I had a locksmith scheduled for 4 p.m. By 5 p.m., the locks were changed. I took the remaining boxes of her things and put them in the storage unit in our building, then texted her the code. My final obligation to her was fulfilled. With her gone, it was time to execute the final part of my plan. I took the day off work on Monday. I created a new, anonymous email address. I wrote a short, polite message. Dear Mrs. Shim, Mark's last name, I am writing to you under anonymity, because I feel you have a right to know the truth. Your husband has been pursuing an inappropriate relationship with my girlfriend, who is his employee. He recently invited her to his hotel room, while on a business trip. I have attached screenshots of their conversation for you to see for yourself. I am truly sorry to be the one to tell you this. I attached the two most incriminating screenshots, his invitation and her tempting reply. I hit send. Then I logged out of the email account and deleted it permanently. The bomb had been dropped. All I had to do was wait for the fallout. Maya, in the meantime, had launched her own counter-offensive. She told our mutual friends that I was a jealous and controlling monster. She claimed I had gone through her phone, created a fantasy in my head, and kicked her out of our home over a simple work friendship. A few of them, the ones who were more her friends than mine, believed her. I received a few angry texts calling me a psycho. I didn't respond to any of them. I knew the truth would work in my favor, and it did. Mark, faced with a furious wife and undeniable proof of his planned infidelity, did exactly what I expected a coward to do. He went into full damage control. He immediately cut off all contact with Maya. He blocked her number. He ignored her emails. He had his assistant move her to a different department, on a different floor, under a different supervisor. Maya was left in a state of utter confusion. The man she was ready to throw our relationship away for had ghosted her completely. Her narrative about our breakup was falling apart. She was alone, humiliated at work, and had no idea why her golden goose had suddenly stopped laying eggs. I had removed the other man from the board entirely, leaving her checkmated, with nowhere to go but back to the life she had tried to discard. Update 3. About a week later, the desperation started. Maya called me from a blocked number. I almost didn't answer, but I was curious. Her voice was a wreck. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. She said she had made a terrible mistake. She said Mark was a monster who had manipulated her, and now he was ignoring her. She said she realized in that moment that I was the only one who had ever truly loved her. She begged me to take her back. I listened to the whole pathetic performance. She wasn't sorry for what she did. She was sorry her plan had failed. She wasn't running back to me out of love. She was running back because her upgrade had been denied. "I need to see you," she sobbed. "Please, just let me talk to you in person." I agreed to meet her. I needed the closure of seeing her one last time, of saying my final piece. I chose a crowded, impersonal coffee shop for the meeting. She looked awful. The confident, sexy woman who had captivated me was gone. She was pale, her eyes were red and swollen, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. She launched into her apology as soon as I sat down, a desperate, rambling monologue about how confused she was, how powerful Mark was, and how she had never meant to hurt me. When she finally ran out of steam, I just looked at her. I didn't feel anger anymore. I just felt a profound sense of pity. "It doesn't matter what he did, Maya," I said, my voice calm and even. "It matters what you did. You didn't say no. You were flattered. You were excited. You were weighing your options and I came in second place. That's the truth. I'll do anything to make it up to you," she pleaded, reaching across the table for my hand. I pulled it away. "No, you won't," I said, "because there is no us to make it up to. You didn't come back to me because you had an epiphany of love. You came back because your rich, handsome boss suddenly wants nothing to do with you, and you have no idea why." I leaned in slightly. "You want to know why he ghosted you, Maya? It's because his wife found out. About the texts. About the hotel room. About you." The look on her face was a sight to behold. It was a mixture of shock, dawning horror, and finally, a flicker of understanding. She finally realized this wasn't just bad luck. It was a controlled demolition. And I was the one holding the detonator. "I'm not your consolation prize," I said, standing up from the table. "You made your choice the moment you texted him back. Goodbye, Maya." I walked out of that coffee shop and never looked back. The addiction was broken. The hold she had over me was gone. I left her sitting there, finally understanding the full scope of the consequences she had brought upon herself. Final update. It has been 6 months. Life has moved on. I've focused on myself, spending more time with friends who proved their loyalty, and rediscovering hobbies I had let slide. The pain has faded, replaced by a clean, quiet sense of freedom. I heard through a former mutual friend what happened with Maya. She quit her job a few weeks after our meeting. She couldn't handle the humiliation of seeing Mark at work every day. She ended up moving back in with her parents in her hometown 2 hours away. She is unemployed, single, and from what I hear, completely miserable. As for Mark, his life also changed. Though not as dramatically. I heard his wife didn't leave him, but she took him to the cleaners in a post-nuptial agreement. He's on a very tight leash, both financially and personally. The word got out at his company, and his reputation as a charismatic leader was permanently tarnished. He's no longer the king of his castle. I feel nothing when I think of them. Not satisfaction, not anger, not sadness. They are just two people who made selfish choices, and now live with the consequences. My fear of her sleeping with him had been the cage that kept me paralyzed. By taking that option off the table for her, I had inadvertently set myself free. I realized the intense physical connection we had was masking a deeper emotional disconnect. Her betrayal forced me to see that. Last weekend, I went on a date. It was my first since the breakup. She was nice, funny, and we had a great conversation. There was a spark, but it was a calm, steady one, not the wild, addictive fire I had with Maya. And for the first time in a long time, that felt exactly right.